Goodman and Hummel podcast, and we got Robbie Hummel.
I'd known you since you were a kid.
I could blow my knee out, both knees, and still kick your ass.
We're trying to find the Robbie Hummel statue.
I wanted to kill you.
All right, welcome in another episode of the Goodman and Hummel podcast. I'm Jeff Goodman. He is Robbie Hummel, and man, look at that haircut. Big Ten Media Day was today.
Yeah.
And where do you go for your cut? Like who is
A
it?
little barber shop down the street. It's
Really?
it's a good spot. The guys there do a good job. I think there's some
$12
other
bucks? What do you think? $12?
No, it's like 35
$35
bucks for a haircut.
I feel like you're a
And,
great cuts guy. I feel like you were like a great cuts guy for a while.
I definitely was in college. Great cuts. But we didn't get NIL. I was at Big Ten Media Day today. I saw more Louis Vuitton shoes.
Seriously?
I was like, is this the NBA?
Wow.
Just stuff like that where you're thinking, man, this was not. I felt good rocking my Nikes back in the day.
I was at Kansas State last week. You should see what Coleman Hawkins is riding. It's like the Batmobile.
Is it the Tesla truck?
I don't know what it was. Black. It was cool.
You don't know what car he was driving?
No, I'll find out.
It was so good of a car, you don't even know. It was like, what, a McLaren? Like,
I didn't know it was like a big truck, but it was like a Batmobile type deal.
It was like an Escalade or a Tahoe?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna find out. I'll find out.
It was probably a Chevy Tahoe, and you're describing it as a car you don't even know.
You know what I know it is? Something you can't afford.
Oh, please.
That's what I know it is.
Well, I didn't get NIL money, though, so.
You did not. All right, let's start off with Derrick Rose, because he retired and crazy career. And you're a Chicago guy, so like the fact that you played against this guy in AAU, the fact that you watched him certainly when he was with the Bulls in his heyday, getting the MVP, and then to kind of reinvent himself, and like the amazing.
I really respect him for that.
Oh,
I really respect him for that.
Incredible, right?
I respected him anyway, but like even more so. Like,
you know what I loved about him, probably more than anything, was like that dude would dominate guys and not say a word, wouldn't trash talk, he was a loner. I mean, he really was. He was an introvert. He was a loner, but man, like he was so likable, and he became more likable in a way when he had to reinvent his career, because a lot of people thought like, there's no way a dude with this athleticism is going to be able to stay in the league after having that athleticism taken away.
Well, a lot of times those guys just fall off the cliff, right? Like it goes from they're really good to that stuff gets sapped, and then they're just not. What do you fall back on?
How good was he? How good was you played against them when it was the best backcourt maybe I ever saw in AU basketball? Two guys who didn't say two words, which was Derrick Rose and Eric Gordon.
Literally two of the nicest
ever
guys.
Yes.
And just when I think about Derrick, I think about someone who's incredibly humble, who has, taken the Chicago kind of hoop scene and put it on his back, just because he's one of the guys that was hyped to be that good, and he really was that good. And, I tweeted something when I saw he retired. And honestly, I was sad because he's one of the few guys left from the class of 07. Now it's like Eric Gordon and Kevin Love and like James Harden. And it's kind of, that might be it. Like there might be,
You're old.
I know I'm 35. So like we're at that age. But I played with him at the Nike All-American camp. He was on my 3-on-3 team. So we'd play at NIF's 5-on-5. But in IUPUI's gym, we'd play 3-on-3. Okay. So it was me, D Rose, and I want to say Leonard Washington.
Oh, I love Leonard Washington.
But I forget who our fourth was.
He was crazy.
But that was the first time I really saw Derrick, because I hadn't seen him on the circuit that much. We didn't play Mean Streets that year. And I was like, holy shit. Like this guy, his burst, unbelievable. His verticality for a point guard, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody. It's like Russell Westbrook, maybe. Yep. Like that'd be who else has that type of vertical bounce. But the thing was, like you said, he didn't really say much, but he passed. Like everybody that was that good,
he was unselfish.
Was a pig to shoot. They were like it because that's what it's about, right? You're such a scoring is so emphasized. And with Derek, he could score, but he really facilitated and he was fun to play with. So at that Nike American camp, you had D Rose there, you had Kevin Durant there. So you got I mean, you see Durant, you're like, this guy's 7 foot tall and a two guard. You know, I'm 15 years old coming from Valpo, Indiana. I've never seen anybody look like these two guys. But then at the Peach Jam the next year, the game is on YouTube. I shouldn't tell you this because you're going to go find it. I've watched it. I was so terrible. I was so terrible. But I remember our AU coach, Wayne Brum. They played me at the point some. Like, I didn't always play the point for our team, but for whatever reason against Mean Streets, they're in this 2-3 zone. You've got Eric Gordon and Derrick Rose at the top of the zone, and they're kind of like slouched. Like, I remember this is like ingrained in my mind. They're like slouched on the elbow or a little bit like elbow extended, half in a stance, half looking disinterested. But I'm like, that's the most athletic guy on the circuit, and that's the second most athletic. Because Eric, people don't remember. Before the hip stuff in the NBA, Eric was a freight train himself. And dude, he had a jumper. His range was crazy, but dude, he was really, really athletic too. So you got those two guys plus Tim Flowers, plus I don't even know who else was on the team. And they whooped our ass. They beat the shit out of us. And I just remember thinking, Coach Brum kept telling me, Rob, you got to use the dribble to penetrate the top of the zone and get through these guys. And I'm like, do you see who that is? Like, man, that's those dudes are NBA players.
Have you looked
today.
at me and have you looked at them?
Shut up. But the thing was, and I when I tweeted about Derek retiring, I said this, but I was like, man, going to college really wasn't the adjustment that it should have been, because you saw Mike Beasley. He was better than most of the college dudes you were playing against. You saw Derrick Rose. Right. He was better than most of the guys. You saw Eric Gordon. You saw Kevin Love, Kyle Singler, James Harden, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin.
Your class see these guys so loaded, Rob.
And the depth of it. Like, Kalen Lucas is like 40. Etwan Moore is like 32. Jawan Johnson, 45. Evan Turner, 60. Right. You know, like, you're talking about guys that were all-American college players and had tremendous NBA careers and made a lot of money for themselves in the NBA. But seeing a guy like Derek and Eric and all those guys, man, the physicality of college was different. But who was better than those dudes?
Nobody.
They weren't.
Yeah,
they really weren't. And there was no COVID fifth years. There weren't 28-year-old dudes playing. So they prepared everybody in our class. You had to raise your level to not get embarrassed by those guys. And it really helped, I think, a lot of guys get to college and have success early.
Yeah, like I love Derek, and the story I'm going to tell is crazy. Eric Bossi reminded me of this when Derrick Rose retired, and he was there for it. He'd probably tell it better. My memory's not as good as yours or his. Bossi being a longtime recruiting analyst who still covers recruiting. So it was a game in Vegas, and D Rose All-Stars, whatever they were called, right? Reggie Rose's brother was coaching them. They're playing against Team Canada, like Grassroots Canada, whatever it was. It was like Tristan Thompson, I think Mike Kabongo, those guys on that team. Good team. The team from Canada was killing them. I'm in the bleachers, and with about, I want to say it was early in the second half, they're down 40, D Rose. And there's a call, and Reggie Rose has had it. And he pulls his team off the court. We're done.
I remember this happening, or being reported of happening.
I probably reported it. It's my guess.
I didn't hear it from you, though.
All right. Well, you were following somebody else. I don't know who it was. You might have been in Vegas at a casino at 16 years old. But anyway, so I'm like, this is total Bush League. Like, you never take your team off the court. Like, I don't care, because you're in Vegas. And, like, to me, even if you're down 40, that's actually the best time to get, like, your 11th man some minutes, and maybe he can get a D1 scholarship. Like, you just don't do it. You don't teach kids, oh, a bad call, we're going to pack it in and go back to the hotel. You finish it out. So game stopped. Kind of all hell was breaking loose. Reggie Rose talking to the refs, yelling at him, whatever. I go down. Other reporters go down there, and I end up kind of getting into it with Reggie Rose, who is, I don't know how you explain Reggie Rose. You're a Chicago guy. How would you explain Reggie Rose to people that don't know? He's not like Derek.
No.
He's got a lot more shit to him, and
Yeah.
he is a scary dude. Like, he is a scary dude
I think
who has a
think that's
reputation
fair.
of, like, you don't want to mess with Reggie Rose.
That's a good way to put it. I
Okay.
think that was well said.
So I kind of, being the moron I am at
How
that.
old are you at this point?
What year would Reggie Rose's 2000?
That's probably 2004, 2005. Like
So
Derek's freshman or
2004.
sophomore year.
What's that? 20 years ago? Holy
Yeah.
crap! 20 years. I'm like 33.
God, you must have been intolerable at that point in time.
Yeah, I probably was. I go right up in his face, and I'm like, "That's bush league bullshit. You don't ever."
You are the protector of AAU basketball.
Yeah,
I love that, Jeff.
I don't know what I was doing, but I was pissed. I was pissed. He kind of comes back at me, starts yelling at me. We're going back and forth, and I guess again, Bossy remembers this, and another recruiting guy remembers this. I think I said something about, well, who took Derek's ACT
Oh God.
to Reggie, and that was kind of it. And we
What did
kind
he
of
say to you?
kept arguing. I don't remember.
Did he answer?
No, he did not answer,
He
because
said
there was an
Derek took it.
investigation, for those that don't know the background, to
He said Derek took it.
huh? I don't
He
know.
said Derek took it.
I don't know if he answered the question. I don't think he answered it, but there was an investigation at the time. The NCAA never even looked into regarding somebody else. There were allegations that somebody else took Derek's test in Detroit. Anyway, so I had to walk out. I was like, what did I just do? Like, I remember this. I'm like, I'm not walking out of this gym alone. By this point, it's like getting dark, and I'm like, I may not get out of Vegas at this point.
You're gonna be buried in the desert.
Yeah,
just
like I'm
the
going to be like,
monsters used to do.
that movie where, like, I'm going to be in a trunk somewhere. So I walk out, I grab any coach I could at that point. I'm like, I need a witness. Like, I need a witness just in case something happens to me.
Your ass.
So I walked out with Buzz Williams. I did. I walked out with Buzz.
Oh wow. Okay.
I remember it well. I don't think Buzz would have, stood up for me or anything, but at least, he would have.
Yeah, but Reggie Rose knew, like, he wasn't going to do anything to jeopardize the Derek stuff. Like, so
No.
That was probably smart to find.
But how about that? Like, talk about
is
dumb.
probably not the smartest thing you've done.
Definitely not.
Probably
It
not the
might-
dumbest thing you've done either. But
I don't know. I'd have to think back. But that was one.
yes,
That was definitely.
I just pulled up the Rivals 150
Yeah.
just to like look.
Yeah.
I can't believe I even forgot.
Who?
OJ Mayo's in that class too.
We got to get OJ. Did you know OJ?
Enough to, if I saw him, say hello, but I'd love to talk to him and just
Me
be
too.
like, we should try. That'd
I
be
know.
a hell of a podcast.
He'd
But
be
him
great.
and Billy Walker,
Yes.
like, then you got like, Dante Green, Anthony Randolph, Jared Bayless, Nick Calathis, Costa Kufis, Patrick Pat. I mean, Chandler
Wow.
Parsons is 19. He's a 6'10" guard that made
Dude, I had
$400
Chandler
million,
Parsons.
dude.
I had Chandler 50 spots behind. I didn't do rankings, but I always joke with him. I had him 50 spots behind Nick Calathis, who was on his team.
Rivals
gives-
had him.
He
yes,
gives me
he
shit
was-
for it. Calathis was awesome.
Calathis is still playing. I give Nick a lot of credit. He was playing in the Olympics.
Yes. Really good
like,
player.
It's just to play in this class, to kind of wrap this up, though. You
loaded.
can go to the hundreds, man. Like, there's a lot of
Yep.
good. Like Malcolm Delaney, 89th. Malcolm
player.
Delaney's made
Yeah.
a ton of money overseas.
Yep.
Brad Wanamaker, 94. Brad Wanamaker can really play. And
Yeah.
it's just a lot of good dudes, man.
No, it was a loaded class, and that's your claim to fame. That's really your
That
claim
I was
to
in the
fame.
60s or 70s or whatever I
Yeah,
was.
but you were even in the top 100. I mean, you
Dude, how
weren't
about
in top
how about the
100.
laziness of Rivals ranking me 75th and Scott Martin 76th?
Is that
we
right?
couldn't be. We were one place apart. They couldn't separate us by,
You know why? You were
Why?
both like 6'8" white dudes. They didn't even know the difference between the two of you.
People would confuse us all the time. And I don't even really think we looked that much alike, but we had different haircuts. And
You're both
I don't
6'8" and white.
Yeah, I know.
All right, let's get to it. Big Ten preview. You were at Big Ten Media Day today. Was it riveting?
Riveting would not be the word. They're just not covered. Like when I was in college, it felt like such a big deal.
Yeah.
And now I feel like it's just the TV networks have got to get the content for like the preseason stuff they use, or the, fill at halftime or pregame before the game. They run a clip of a coach or a player. It is cool. I like the way the guys dress up now. I think it's cool. They get to have a really nice suit made for them, and they can kind of show out their style and whatnot. But it's good that it's back in Chicago. In Minneapolis, a lot of schools didn't send people, but it just doesn't feel like the same as
it's got no juice
10 years ago.
The in-person ones have no juice. At least they moved it out of Minneapolis or wherever the hell it was last.
You really ingratiated yourself to the good people of the land of 10,000 lakes with your statements about Minnesota.
They love me, but I didn't go
to Detroit. Detroit people hate you too.
Yeah, the cold weather places that have the Final Four, like, no, I don't like it.
Your blood has gotten thin now that you live in Charleston or wherever you live.
That's right. It's 85 degrees here today, Rob. You could have played a good round of golf.
It's 75 here. It's still warm. I'm surprised you're there now. Why waste it now? Go down there in January.
Trying to look for a house. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Got to be here to look.
That budget is probably like in the millions for you.
Millions, trillions. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, projected Big Ten standings today. Your Purdue Boilermakers get 20 votes, and they
returned the most. Everybody else, you're like, I don't know. I don't know if anyone knows anything about any team.
Anybody. I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and this is actually the first time I've looked at it all day. Purdue won.
Glad you pressed.
Indiana 2, UCLA 3, Illinois 4, Michigan State 5, Oregon, Rutgers, Ohio State, Michigan, Maryland, Iowa, Wisconsin. I mean, man, first of all, 18 teams. Like
my first takeaway, though, of all, you said 18 teams, and that's where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
The bottom when I played was like, all right, we show up, we will win. Yeah. As long as we're here and we're even close to being locked in. You go through the rosters in this league, everybody is pretty good. There's no team that is like awful.
Listen,
or like head and shoulders
Dawson
below.
Garcia, I don't know where he fit in the all Big Ten teams. I don't know if I assume he made one of them.
He was preseason all Big Ten, I believe.
Right. I mean, he should have been. I mean,
he should be. He put up really good numbers. He's been hurt this summer, but yeah, he's good.
Yeah. I mean, like to me, I'm looking at it, I'm saying to myself, okay, like USC is 14th. Now I know that's crazy.
But how could you pick them? I don't know where to put them. 11 new guys. If anybody can do it, Musk can do it. Because he's like, he's been the transfer king forever.
Yeah.
But they have talent. Like you look at USC's roster, they're not devoid of good players. Like they have a lot of good players.
Des Claude?
No, Desmond Claude. Now his jump shot, but getting to the rim, guarding, and doing that stuff. Slacker at the point guard. A lot of people wanted him on a Penn.
All right, so
Terrence Williams had a good season at Michigan. There's a lot. St. Thomas, really good year at Northern Colorado.
Give me your biggest surprise when you looked at that preseason poll. Let
me pull it up right now.
I'm looking now and I'm saying to myself, like Ohio State at 8. Surprise.
This is the writers' poll. Is that right?
Yeah, I think
that's the only one that they put out. So
Ohio State at 8 to me might be a little low with their backcourt, Rob. Their
front court talented, but I mean, Aaron Bradshaw, not the most proven guy, and Sean Stewart, not the most proven guy either.
Yeah,
I have real concerns about their front court.
But their guards,
I love the kid from San Diego State,
Micah Parrish.
Yeah,
they got 3 good veteran guards, Rob.
I agree. And Thornton, Michi Johnson can score. Yep. I do like their guard play.
I don't know.
So Purdue, Indiana, UCLA, Illinois, Michigan State, Oregon, Rutgers, Ohio State, Michigan, Maryland at 10 surprises me. I'm thinking that Jacoby Gillespie is going to play well because I think he's a good player.
And Derek Queen.
And I think Queen and Reese, it's not the greatest fit, but it can work. I think that it's not like Queen is this stretch 4, but I think he'll shoot it to 15 feet. He can pass. I like the pick of Selton Miguel. You have to hope that Deshaun Harris-Smith makes strides shooting the ball, and that
So
the
is that
team
your
makes
biggest
strides.
surprise? I'm going to pin you down. I'm pinning you down here. Where was the mistake? Where's the mistake in the preseason?
I think Maryland could be like a tier 1 team. I think 10 is way too low.
Okay. Were you surprised UCLA is this high, like 3? I know they're in everybody's preseason top 25s, and maybe they should be. I just feel like coming off a bad year. I don't know. Like, again, there's a lot of
No, because I just think that UCLA totally committed to, like, all right, we're gonna pay.
Yeah.
we're gonna up the roster. Kobe Johnson, really good pickup out of USC, just guards his ass off. Mick has been really high on William Kyle, the kid out of South Dakota State, to protect the rim. Now, I'm okay with them in the top kind of 4 or 5. Dylan Andrews could be one of the better point guards in the league.
Who are you picking to win the league? Like, who's your pick to win the league? Is it Purdue?
I would go Purdue because they're known.
Right.
That's the only thing. Like Indiana, I think their talent is so much better and their depth is so much better.
Yeah.
But I still don't know how the pieces fit with the are they going to play big? But you have to, because you've paid Ballo to come.
I heard Woodson had a quote today. Basically, when they asked him, "Are you going to play Renew and Ballo together?" and he said, "I still don't know," or how much you're going to play them together.
What's he not? I mean, I just can't imagine he's not going to not play Malik Renew.
I mean, how much? I think they asked him, like, how much are you going to play him? And he was like,
yeah. And I just was thinking when the season ended, we'd see Renew at the 5, we'd see Ibaka with the 4. You got to get better guards from what they have. But they're going to have to play him, I would think. Ibaka.
But wouldn't you have rathered, if you were the general manager of that team, wouldn't you have said, hey, you know what? Like you just said, we'll go Renew at the 5.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. But you can't deny Umar Ballo is talented and he's huge.
Yeah.
And he's productive. If Trey Galloway is your 5th or 6th guy, and I don't mean this in any way of disrespect to him, because I'd take Trey Galloway on my team any day of the week. But if he's your 5th or 6th option, now he's back in the role of where he can be at his best. Last year he had to be their best guard.
No, he's coming up the bench now, Rob.
No, I know. And I do worry a little bit about Miles Rice and Cannon Carlisle's percentages, but high volume, ball in their hands into shot clock. They had to take. So maybe with better talent, you have to hope if you're Indiana, those numbers go up. Luke Goody, great pickup.
Yes.
Bryson Tucker's talented, but doesn't really help their perimeter shooting.
Right.
What was that?
You got to find a way to get Goody on the floor for at least.
No, for sure. For sure. I think Goody could be a big piece for them.
All right. So if I'm giving you, give me your prediction on this Indiana team. Where do they finish? How far do they go in the tournament? And how far do you think they need to go?
This is like the most pointless.
All right. Here's a better one. What do they need to do for Mike Woodson to be the coach a year from now? How's that?
I think they need to shoot a higher volume of threes with a decent percentage. I think just consistency-wise, Renew cannot get in foul trouble, and Baco needs to be the guy we saw end of the season. And I'll just say their guard play has got to be good. Miles Rice and Cannon Carlisle have got to be guys that can create and hopefully shoot a decent clip from 3.
Is going to the tournament enough to see for me, it's one of two things.
I think so. I think if he gets to the tournament, that is good.
If they're in the top, I think you got to be either in the top, like 5. You're in the top 3, 5 in the Big Ten this year. And then if you're in the top 3 of the Big Ten and you lose in the first round, that's okay. But if you're like 8th in the Big Ten and you get in the tournament and you lose in the first round, then I think the fan base is going to say we've had enough.
I don't know, dude. That's still three tournaments in 4 years. I don't know. It would be interesting.
A lot of money.
That would he'd probably sleep better at night if it's, hey, we're in the top 4 or 5 teams. But there's no doubt they are way more talented. They were not good enough in the backcourt last year, and they certainly addressed that with their guards they went and got.
Can Michigan State, can Tom Izzo,
he was high on this team today.
Can he make a run? Is it over for Tom Izzo being in the conversation for a Final Four appearance?
Well, I asked him today about his quote from the tournament where he said, I'm going to make a deep run in this thing or die trying. I was like, Coach, you've won over 700 games. You have 9 Final Fours. You've won a national title. This is your 30th season. Like, what is dry? And you hate, not just dislike, you hate the landscape.
Right.
So why keep doing this? You know why? And I do think, and I have the ultimate respect for Tom Izzo, and I respect his program like crazy. I just think he is like addicted to building teams and like coaching, and I think it's his hobby. I think he lives it. Who is the go-to guy for Michigan State? It was so Tyson Walker dominant.
Yeah,
and I don't
got to be Jaden Akins this year, doesn't it? Have to be.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's his strongest suit. I like Jaden Akins. I think that there was an expected jump that didn't happen last year. That doesn't mean he couldn't do it this season. Jeremy Fears, how does he run the team after going through all that he went through last year? How good is Frankie Fiddler? How does it translate coming up from Omaha? Xavier Booker is adding 20 pounds. Does that translate to a more physical player? There's differences between adding weight and becoming more physical and embracing the physicality of the sport. Sure. You could look better and look the part, but still be like, I don't want anything to do with that contact.
Yeah.
The 5 spot, is it Cooper? Is it Kohler? How does Cohen Carr fit into this at the 4 or the 3? Coach talked about the Zapala kid, the transfer from Longwood today.
Really?
And I think he's been high on Trey Holloman. He does like his team, but I do think, who's the go-to guy? I don't think that Coach Izzo knows.
Yeah, I don't think he's got one either. I think he needs to hit the portal a little harder.
Well, he loves that.
Well, I know, but like,
portal.
If you want to make another run, I just don't know. I mean, again, Booker was like his highest rated prospect in years.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he's got to.
But they've gotten away from things that have, like, when you think of Michigan State, and Coach Izzo says all the time, it's about rebounding and pushing the ball.
Yeah.
When I was playing, man, if you didn't rebound, you would get embarrassed.
Yep.
And they had Raymar Morgan at the 3 and Drew Namick at the 5 and Goran Sutan. I mean, they would obliterate you on the glass. They would embarrass you. And if you, even on made baskets, like all we would do when we'd get ready for Michigan State was rebounding drills and transition defense. And it would just be like, everybody get back. Even on made shots, they are bringing that thing. They're coming. And I don't feel like they've done that nearly as well as those are staples of their program. So I'm curious to see, and it's funny because now Purdue is this rebounding freaking monstrosity. And Edey was a big part of that. Can Purdue continue that on without the 2-time National Player of the Year that averages 5 offensive rebounds a game?
Are you feeling it with Purdue, though, being that much better, or no? Are you saying to yourself, like, I'll give them number 1 because I know they got...
No, I mean, a lot of that is like, because there are so many unknowns out there. I like a lot of their pieces.
But their ceiling is not as high as some other teams. Would you agree?
I think, they could have the best backcourt in the league. Braden Smith and Fletcher Loyer is a good place to start. Miles Colvin, high ceiling. Cam Heide, high ceiling.
Yeah.
How does Trey Kaufman-Renn, like, does he take that step? And where are you playing him at? Are you playing him? You have to play him at the 4, right? Situationally at the 5, I don't think you can play him full-time at the 5. So does that mean it's...
Why not?
I just think size-wise, they want to rebound the ball the way that they have. That it would be, especially if you're playing like Indiana with Ballo and Renew, you're not playing him at the 5, or Maryland with Queen and Reese. No chance. Right. Is that Daniel Jacobson at the 5? Is that Caleb First? Is that Will Berg? I don't know. So I think there's questions, but to say that they don't have high upside, I think Colvin and Heide are upside players.
Yeah,
those guys are really athletic.
They don't have high upside. I'm saying they're probably not as high as some other teams. I think have lower floors, higher.
No, I got you. Yeah, but Purdue, I think Purdue
kind
is
of know
what
you're going to get. But you're right with Heide and Colvin specifically. Those two we haven't really seen it yet.
Yeah, and they're high on Jakari Harris and C.J. Cox too. So
yeah, the Harris kid they really like, right?
They really like is Raleigh Burgess, but he might redshirt. but they're
What
really
is,
high.
what
on
is
him.
Harris, Rob? Have you seen Harris or no? Yeah.
I think he's a point guard that's really physical, 6'3", 200 pounds. He really guards. I haven't seen much of him. I went to a practice right before I watched Notre Dame beat our football team by 75 points.
Yeah, that was
So,
good.
and I was really kind of like more talking to people. I was not the most locked in. So,
all right, who are you worried about the most? If I said to you, what team?
let me pull up the poll again.
And I'll start if you want.
Okay. Well, I think Minnesota, just because they.
Yeah, no, come on. But that's
you asked me.
no,
Only
that doesn't
because
count. They're picked
hold
last.
on. Let me finish though, because Ben Johnson got a raw deal and that he had built a team that goes to the NIT. Let me finish. What is they're in the Big Ten? It's not like I said Valparaiso.
I tell you,
Like,
who are you worried about the most? And you picked the team picked 18th.
hold on, dude. It's because I'm just saying I feel bad that Ben put together a team that if they stayed together from last year, you'd be like, they will make the tournament. They could finish in the top 6 of the league. And the portal just decimated them along with the NBA draft. Who are you worried about, asshole? Like, who are you worried about?
I'm going to pick a team.
You're going to say Rutgers. You're going to say Rutgers.
I'm going to say Rutgers. Yeah. I just don't know. Here's my question. Can Steve Peichel coach and deal with two guys that are both one and dones? He's never dealt with that before. Two guys that are highly, highly touted in Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper Jr. At least, one guy that, I mean, there's just some stuff going on there. There's some stuff going on that I'm not going to say right now.
You're holding back.
I will say I can't get an interview with somebody at Rutgers unless
you're not known to like hold back on this stuff.
All right, fine. I can't get an interview because I won't reach in my wallet for an interview, and I'm not going to. I haven't had to do that in 20 years. I'm not going to do it now.
Off this podcast, just do it.
I'm not paying. You want to pay for an interview?
No.
I mean, I never had to pay for an interview with you. You were elite, right?
If I knew what I know now, I would demand money. But it was also illegal. I'd lose my eligibility. Yeah. So it wasn't worth the $5 you'd throw me.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's the best fit. I love Pike. I think Pike's an elite coach.
Well, it's just different than any team he's coached, right? Like this is going to be a different situation.
Yeah.
And dealing with the elite players, I think he's made guys that were like grinders that worked their ass off, that made themselves into good players and were under recruited. And now you've got two dudes that are like, man, Ace Bailey could make $500 million in his life.
Sure.
And Dylan Harper might not be far behind, honestly.
Yep. No, I haven't seen Bailey play because he was on a different circuit, but I saw Dylan Harper Jr. Like he's a very good player.
Yeah.
Again, we'll see. We'll see how good they are. And they're picked 6th in the league. And
you know what? I'll go Ohio State. They're picked 8th. Their backcourt is very good, but they haven't won the last couple years, and I don't know. I really like Bruce Thornton, but for whatever reason it just hasn't worked. Michi Johnson, major volume shooter. I like that of Micah Parrish, and their front court to me major question marks. Even though I do understand the ability that both Bradshaw and Stewart have.
What if I pick Illinois to win the league?
Illinois is as unknown as just about anybody. So, but think about this. Is this Matthew Meyer team chemistry or is this last year's team chemistry?
Right.
The turnover every year, that's a very unknown, and how good are the European guys? By all accounts, they're pretty good, especially the one kid, Jakashonis,
yes.
I haven't gotten the pronunciation guide yet. So
Jakashonis, Kasparos, Jakashonis, I think is it. I don't know. But they, yes, they're going to be reliant on some of the Europeans. Ty Rodgers won't have as much pressure on him as he had, even coming back home to Champaign, as he had maybe at Arizona. The other Ivasic's brother is pretty good.
They're high on. I know Will Riley's big time recruit, but they're high on the Rickhouse kid.
Yes,
they really like him.
So I'm saying, I think they got enough. I mean, you got Kerry Booth. Rob, you got Kerry Booth coming off the bench here. Like that's.
Dude, I'm not. Jeff, I'm not
Mariz,
debating their talent. I'm just saying when you turn the entire team over and return one guy
yeah,
that played, Ty Rogers, and Dre
yeah,
Gibbs Lawhorn, who barely played.
I know,
So I guess two, but I don't know. They could be awesome. They could
I think
be the
they're
same as
the
Matt Meyer's team. They could be worse than that. I have no clue. I bet they won't be because Underwood seems to
yeah.
embrace this. Izzo is like, I hate it. Underwood's like, shit, give me 12 new guys every year. I don't care.
Brad's just looking at his paycheck and being like, I'm good, man. Whatever.
I don't
Whatever.
know.
Throw whatever rules you want at me. Where, yeah, Izzo. And it is funny how some coaches have just said, you know what, I'm not going to complain. We
Yeah.
talked to Bill Self about it last week. And then, Izzo certainly, yeah, he's not quite that. He's a
Yeah.
little bit different.
What do you think about Michigan? We haven't gone there yet. New coach Dusty May.
Yeah,
Interesting roster construction to me
it
with
is.
the Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf. I saw Danny Wolf in the NCAA tournament. Really skilled, can
Yep.
handle, shoots threes. Like, I don't know. Do those guys play together? Do you go Cheddar at the four? Are you Sam Walters at the four? Sam Walters can really shoot the basketball. I haven't seen Reuben Jones, so I really don't know much
They love
about
him. They love
Do
him.
they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Roddy
Like-
Gale, interesting, man.
Yeah.
You go from Ohio State
Right.
to Michigan. And I know that's like a football.
You shouldn't
the
be
rivalry
allowed to.
football is
It's
so
almost like
close.
you shouldn't be allowed to do that, Rob.
No, I know, but I feel like the rivalry for other sports in that game is not the same.
Right.
Like Indiana, Purdue, or Michigan State, like
Yeah.
all sports are that, but the Ohio State Michigan thing is more football to me.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Trey Donaldson's interesting.
They're going to be better. We know that.
For
They've
sure.
got enough
No
guys.
question about that.
Like,
they're picked. What were they picked? 10th?
They are
Ninth.
picked.
I think ninth is high, honestly.
I think that's fair. I think I think they could be as high as like 6 if everything goes right. And they could be as low as like 12.
Yeah. I think Iowa at 11 is low. I like what Iowa's got. I think they've got a chance to kind of fly under the radar here.
Freeman's really good. Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
and Peyton Sanford can play.
Yep.
Love Freeman. The point guard spots, Drew Thelwell or Brock Harding have got to be a guy that can run the team.
Harding's fun. Fun.
I really like Josh Dix. I really like Peyton Sanford. I really like Owen Freeman. They've got a good young core that they kept together. I think France's team is really flying under the radar, and I would not have picked them at 11.
Was there anything that came out of today that what was the story? Was there any storyline that came out of Big Ten Media Day? Not really. Just the amount of teams.
I'm so in a room. I just am in a room doing interviews. So I'm sure in the big kind of, they have like, essentially for anyone that's never been to Big Ten Media Day, it's either at an arena or a convention center. And this year it's at a convention center. Yeah. So there's like a big ballroom where there's the Big Ten Network set, and then there's like these tables for like individual breakout interviews. And there's all these tables in front of those tables for the players where the writers like Jeff would be sitting there writing their stories. And then around that room, CBS has a room. Big Ten Network has some rooms to do like digital stuff or film things for when to like advertise games or to put on before games or halftime or whatever. CBS has one, Fox has one, NBC has one. I'm just sitting in NBC's room kind of talking to coaches. And honestly, I have no idea. I have no
clue. It is hard. I've been in those rooms too, where you got to ask, some of the questions and like for TV and no, you're right. I mean, and again, it's hard these days because there's so many uncertainties. Like normally we knew everybody, you had 80% of your teams back. Now you don't know. A lot of these kids, honestly, are guys that you didn't watch a whole lot during the season because they're mid-major players.
Right. And they're coming up. And I think my favorite thing that happened today, I interviewed Fletcher Lawyer and Braden Smith, and I got done, and the producer of these interviews that is doing this thing goes, I have a question that I want to ask. And I was like, okay, yeah, well, go ahead. And he goes, Ace Baldwin was in here and of Penn State.
Yeah.
And he goes, we asked him who he's most looking forward to playing. And he said, Braden Smith. And so he goes, Braden, how do you feel about that? Like he said he's like looking forward to really
Yeah.
checking him or something like that.
Yeah.
Braden gave a very diplomatic answer. I was hoping he'd be like, I'm about to carve him or something like, but everybody's so well like taught on how to do this now. And then the producer goes, Braden, do you know when the game against Penn State is? And he's like, well, no. And he goes, oh, Ace does. He told us the date of the game.
Wow.
So I was like,
Really?
okay, I look forward to watching the Ace Braden Smith matchup.
Yeah, Braden's kind of all business,
Yeah, he is.
right?
He's got a big beard. Looks like
Does he?
James Harden beard.
Really?
Yeah,
That big? Is it that big?
that's pretty big.
You should grow a beard.
I'm more of a clean cut.
You look like Santa Claus, I feel
I
like.
don't look good. Well, I could do like the 5 o'clock shadow, but the beard starts to itch. I'm not good at
Yeah.
it. And like if I do a goatee, I look terrible. I
Yeah.
look so white trash with a goatee. It's very Indiana of me. But that's
Yeah,
my
well,
roots, so I can't help it.
We'll get you a tractor and you'll be good. You'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What else? Anything else you want to get off your chest here?
It was cool to see the four West Coast guys, Mick and Muss, and I didn't get to talk to Danny Sprinkle today.
There's a picture. Hey, there was a picture of Mick Cronin and Gary Parrish of CBS. I couldn't tell the difference.
They're rocking the same haircut, so
Same haircut, same height, same
Yeah.
build,
yeah,
like all of it.
yeah.
Same
And
age.
it was good to see Dana Altman as well. I mean, like just those four guys can really coach, man. So the league just gets tougher and tougher. And I think there's no elite team as of now. Like if you think about, but the depth of the league is going to be a gauntlet.
Really
There's
is.
just nobody's bad. Like Penn State at 17, they return like everybody.
Who is your favorite player to talk? Like who is the best personality of anybody you talked to today?
I did so many coaches, I didn't get a lot of the players.
Really?
Trying to think.
You know who's fun? Who you probably didn't meet, but was Great Osibor there?
He was. I did not do his
He's
interview.
fun. He's a fun kid to talk to. Really.
No, and honestly, most of the kids are really good. Like they're well versed in the media stuff. They know what they're not going to deviate. You don't get many wild cards. And the wild cards are what, journalists like yourself like because they make for a good interview.
I do love it.
But these schools do a good job of being like,
Yeah, you can find them though.
no.
And again,
bulletin
I'm not
boards
saying you
or-
want to find ones that like are going to say like just be entertaining,
like Hunter
personable.
Dickinson is entertaining.
Right.
He's an entertaining
Who is?
interview.
Who?
Hunter Dickinson.
Oh yeah, that's Hunter's like probably as good as it gets. Coleman Hawkins is really
Yeah, he's a good interview.
like again, I feel like some of these guys now, it can help your brand. It can help you or hurt you, right? Obviously, I think it hurt. We talked to Self about it last week. It hurt Hunter for a stretch there with Barstool, but I think he's gone into kind of a little.
I thought Coach Self's answer was very good.
It was good.
He gave a very good answer. Coach Self's whole interview was very good.
It's probably the best question you've ever asked.
Dude, I'm good at interviewing. You've done this for 30 years and you still suck at it. You asked the worst question. That's what's amazing. You've gotten no better. How is that possible?
Listen, all I remember is when you used to have to do those post-game interviews after you did the games.
Yeah.
I would watch you shaking. Like
I
literally,
was
so
terrified.
nervous.
The funny thing is, so there was a dinner 2 nights ago that I went to, and there was a good amount of the coaches were there. And I was talking to Kevin Willard, and I told him, Coach, I don't know if you remember this, but the worst post-game interview I ever did was with you. And of course, he's like, oh, yeah, of course it's with me, and I didn't mean it like that. Like, he gave bad answers. I was terrible, but it's my second year at ESPN. It was the Wooden Tradition, and the championship was Miami and Seton Hall. Good game. Really good game, actually. Mamo Kelishvili was in the game. What was the score from Seton Hall? Miles, really good player.
Davis? No, Miles.
Miles Davis.
Miles. There wasn't Miles Davis. He was Xavier. Miles. Oh my goodness.
Miles Turner. Miles.
No, it's not Miles Turner either.
Miles Powell.
Yeah, Miles Powell. Yeah,
Miles Powell. He was playing. Seton Hall was good. Miami was on they only had 7 scholarship guys, but they were pretty good. And the game ends, and we go to commercial, and I'm thinking the game's over, and they're like, Robbie, you have to interview Kevin Willard. We're still we have to take this to the top of the hour. And it's 8:50. So I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna happen. And I, at this point in time, am still. I mean, I used to, like you said, dread the post game interview to the point of like under 4 timeout. I'd be panicking, like writing stuff down. And I'm like, dude, this is where you should be like locking in to like do a good job. And I'm thinking about, holy
You're
shit, I've got to interview a
sweating.
coach. I'm
Right.
really nervous. Yeah. So they dropped this interview on me, and I've got like 120 seconds to get an IFB in so I can hear the producer.
Yeah.
You don't have time to write shit down. So I'm like legitimately panicked. So those 120 seconds felt like they were 10. And we are back. And I'm like, I'm here with
got
Kevin
nothing.
Willard.
Right.
And my first question was fine. Like, hey, coach, you won the title. I didn't say it nearly as good, but like, you won the championship. How did you guys do it? Okay, that's an easy one. He says that. Second one, I went to the leading scorer, which I assumed was Miles Powell. So I'm like, Miles played great. What'd you think of his performance? They're not good questions, but they're not egregiously bad.
Yeah.
The producer in my ear, as Kevin Willard is talking, goes, we need one more. You have to fill one more. And I'm like,
Okay.
I don't have one more. So on my game sheets, I had always put who the next opponent is and what day it is, just so I can reference it if I need to. I didn't have my game sheet in my hand, though. So I'm like trying to remember who it is, which is not, you should never look ahead to like, you could ask another question about a player. What'd you do defensively different? I mean, there's a million things you could ask, right? Like, but I'm just not experienced enough to do it. And I'm like, coach, your next game is against, let's say, I don't remember what team I said, like USC. How do you take this win and prepare? Like, it's a terrible question.
Yeah.
And he goes, we don't play USC next. And literally walked away. And I'm like, okay, back to you guys. I was horrified. I was like, I hope nobody was watching that shit, because that shit was terrible.
Yeah. Sideline's
hard.
Yeah.
And interviewing is hard. And it just takes some time to get very comfortable. But the people that are good at it, who's a beast at it? Underratedly, Rick Pizzo at Big Ten Network is phenomenal.
I've seen him. Yeah, he is good.
Oh, he's good.
I had one where the game was close at halftime. Forget where it was, where I was. It was probably some event. And Villanova was playing somebody. And Villanova might have been down, and then they hit like a 3-pointer to go up 1. And I'm on the other sideline at that point because I think under the basket, I think the other team is going to lead at halftime. I'm going to get that coach. Well, they hit a crazy 3 or something. I got to run all the way down. And like, I'm not on the court. I'm like behind the court trying to get around and everything. And I'm like trying to outrace Jay Wright going into the locker room. But you got to get them kind of.
Because they're not going to wait on you. Like, you got to get them.
Yeah.
But their SID should help you.
Yeah, I think it was just one of those where, like, again.
Why didn't you just take the losing team at half? Like, you could have totally done that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the producer was just like, let's get Villanova hits this big shot. Let's get them going in. And Jay was great. I mean, Jay was great. But, sideline is, it's not easy because a lot of things can go wrong. That's what I will say that people don't understand. A lot of things can go wrong, especially the communication.
A lot of times those headsets are not working great for the sideline. I don't know if it's the technology or that's happened so many times on games where we've had sideline.
Did you see Illinois' bingo card? Did you see Illinois' bingo card today?
No.
So we tweeted it out. Somebody posted it, but basically Illinois. I guess this is real. Illinois players brought a press question bingo card to Big Ten Media Day. So, and they crossed out what had already been asked. So, conference realignment crossed out, recruiting crossed out, talk about, which I tweeted. I hate talk about questions when people
talk about ask good questions. You probably say it, and you probably ask questions.
Rarely do talk about it. Like very, very rarely. Daddy Brad crossed out. Booty ball crossed out.
Is this things that they were trying to say, or the questions were saying? Because I
feel like
remember
the
last year
question
they were
crossed.
daring each other on like, could they get certain phrases in and stuff.
I don't know. I feel like it's what what they asked them. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Anyway, all right. Listen, let's wrap this. We'll hopefully have one next week. I'm on the road.
Yeah, you got to go to work, man.
You're gonna have to work around me. I'm gonna be at A10 Media Day Monday.
Where's A10 Media Day?
DC. And then we got to go to Summit Media Day Tuesday. So nothing.
Where's that? Sioux Falls?
Yeah, nothing direct from DC to Sioux Falls. Good luck.
Fly to Chicago, probably.
No, you know what we're doing? I'm flying
Minneapolis,
because if we don't make the connection, at least
you could drive.
You could drive it. You could.
It's like 4 hours, I think. It's not far.
Then we're going ACC Wednesday and Thursday from Sioux Falls again. So not an easy.
When are you in Vegas?
The following week.
Dude, you missed out last time. I got to meet Carrot Top.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if Carrot Top's out there again.
That's my boy. He wished me happy birthday when I turned 35. He sent me a video.
That should be oh yeah, Arizona's not playing Purdue this year, right?
No.
Damn, I need revenge on that.
You guys really chickened out from playing us, I think.
That's such bullshit. Actually, I am going to yell at Tommy Lloyd because I needed to get revenge on the bet, and
you didn't even do it.
I wore it. I had pictures. People came up to me.
Wear it out. You were supposed to wear it out.
No, nobody said it. Remember, we never found any evidence.
Oh my God,
there was no evidence.
You can't see. This is why I can't trust you.
I can't
lost
the bet. I paid up
the bet. This is why I've been threatening retirement. You're not accountable.
You've been threatening
accountable to this
for
pod.
3 years. 3 years you've been threatening retirement. We gave you a raise. What more do you want?
I haven't gotten paid anything yet. So
you work 20 hours a year.
You guys send me a T-shirt and pay me like
you're overpaid. You are overpaid per hour. Okay, you're stealing money from Field of 68.
Field of 68. Doster probably lives in like a 13,000 square foot house, and you're shopping home in Charleston.
You should have seen Doster today. We were recording some stuff today, so his wife is gone. So he's Mr. Mom.
He's man of the house.
You should see, like, nobody has less control over their children than Rob Doster. Nobody.
What's he making him for dinner? Just like popping pizzas to the oven and stuff?
I'm not sure they're even eating dinner. Like, I think it's like animal crackers for dinner. I'm telling you.
At worst, he could be getting takeout.
Social service.
Worst.
If social services finds out about Doster,
they're going to take his kids, man. I hate to see that for Rob.
But. All right. Thanks for joining us. This went off the rails a little bit. We will hopefully see you next week. Maybe we'll do it from Vegas. Maybe we'll do a quick that's not next week. I'm not in Vegas next week, the following week. We'll figure things out. We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll go
we gotta do the draft. The draft is always great. Your team
we will do the
draft.
Trash. I need some more info though. I need to do some.
I gotta study up because last year you didn't try and it showed.
Last year
it really showed.
Crushed. I got crushed. You played it safe last year. You took a new approach. Remember, you took Amani.
I was proving commodities was my mantra.
Right. You took Amani Bates 2 years ago in like the third round.
Yeah,
remember?
And I took the one kid from Duke that like broke it, Derek Whitehead, like really early.
Yeah, you had a rough draft 2 years ago, but you did. I'll give Matt Painter credit. He taught you well. Like, learn from your mistakes. You did, and you just went safe. You played it safe. But I'm gonna have a completely. I'm going to be prepared this time. I promise. I'm going to be prepared. So we're going to do that probably the week before the start of the season. I think we'll do the draft again. But all right, take advantage of these 75-degree days. I heard from a birdie that
I told you this.
Well, you were the birdie, yes. That you absolutely you were doing well in your round with who?
It was me and Jordan Cornette against two guys.
And then you did what I told you are. You're a mental misfit, and you totally just melted down at the end.
I know. Dude, I played maybe my best front nine of the summer. Birdie on 1 and 2, 36, and then 43.
It all fell apart. I've done it all with the pressure.
I hit two drives on the 15th hole and 17th hole that maybe still have not landed to the left. They were so far left, I can't even fathom.
Unbelievable. All right. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us. Goodman Hummel Pod.